Hello Internet and welcome to Feck Tech here on fecktv.com. I'm Noel Byrne and here with me tonight is Shane Ormond.
All right.
Thanks for that. If you want to get in contact this evening, you can do so on Twitter at FeckTV, or indeed you can check us out on Facebook as well.
Coming up in tonight's show, we're going to be talking a little about the games of 2013, the PS4, and my favourite personally, the John McAfee scandal.
He is a hero of ours. But first, kicking us off tonight is the iPhone 6. Apparently, a design has been leaked.
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't sound too excited.
I'm not really excited about anything Apple in general.
Yeah. Well, we're going to discuss it anyway. There's a lot of people there.
Fine.
An Italian designer whose name is something along the lines of Sica Res Design, so I'm just going to call him Mr. Design.
Whoa. What was that? Sica Res Design?
Yeah, it's probably pronounced Italian, so it's like Sica Res Design. So we're going to quickly move on. I'm going to call him Mr. Design. There was a leaked prototype online of what the iPhone 6 may look like. And to be honest, it's a bit mad that we're talking about the iPhone 6 because the iPhone 5 has only been out for a matter of months.
The 6 is ages away, isn't it?
They're expecting it may be announced maybe in June, July this year.
Yeah.
And then it may not be out for the Christmas 2013.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad that we're talking about Christmas 2013 when we've literally just had Christmas a few weeks ago.
Crap.
But basically he has designed it digitally to what it may look like. And we can bring it up on screen here for you. It kind of looks like an iPod Nano in style.
So he designed this from specifications that have been leaked from the company.
Well, they've been leaked. We don't know if they're from the company or they're false or they're true, but this is kind of the best reimagining of it so far.
Is the table that's on rendered from the specifications of a table design that's been leaked?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. It's a tabletop phone that comes with a table now.
Anyway, what do you think of it?
To be honest, I don't like this design and I'm a bit weary of whether or not it is going to be something that Apple will do. I mean, it's quite different. Apple, you know, over the last couple of iterations of the iPhone, they've kind of tweaked it slightly, you know, made it a bit thinner, screen a bit longer, you know, added Siri, it changed the address book, stuff like that. Nothing major. I'd be surprised if they did an overhaul this big.
Don't you think it's kind of time that they start experimenting a little bit more now? Like, the amount of money that they're making, they kind of have a responsibility to do something a bit more adventurous.
Well, yeah, you see, that's the thing. They're kind of known as, you know, the company that, you know, is quite innovative. They always, you know, they introduced the iPhone and it just like broke the mold for mobile phones and everything started following it afterwards.
On a design basis, they have, like, they've always operated on the philosophy that everything should be stripped down and minimalist and with rounded corners.
Yes, that is very true, which this does have rounded corners and rounded edges.
Oh, that's nice.
But the interesting thing, and you can see from the image as well, was that it's got what the designers called iOS X, which is kind of a fusion of iOS, the operating system on the iPhone, and OS X, which is on, you know, MacBooks and whatnot.
Yeah, it did actually. The picture just looks like you're running the Mac OS on an iPod Nano.
Yes, pretty much. And to be honest, it doesn't look nice because it looks like they've tried to squash the MacBook into a phone.
There's too much on the screen.
I'd be extremely surprised if Apple went ahead and did that. I mean, the dock looks disgusting on it. Yeah. That you'd find normally at the bottom of a you know, a MacBook. So I doubt that they'll go down that route, but it'll be interesting to see in 6-7 months' time if it is something like that.
Yeah, anything like that at all.
But interestingly, when I saw it, I was like, it looks really familiar, but I couldn't quite grasp what it was that it looked like. I just knew it was a recently released phone. Yeah. And the designer created a slideshow for YouTube, which was basically like, you know, all the images and the drawings and how we got to the stage of, you know, the final product. And then people were commenting on YouTube under the video, and then I was like, oh yes, that's what it is. It looks a lot like the Nokia Lumia 920, Nokia's more recent phone. And if we have a look at the image here on screen, it does look quite similar. Yeah. So
I wouldn't like be accusing them of plagiarism or anything. Like as I was saying, like the design specifications for phones are narrowing like closer and closer. They're all becoming more like iPhones without trying to break any sort of legal.
I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if it is going to go down this route. But
yeah, I would imagine if there's not a very positive response from the public when they saw that prototype, that they would start changing it as soon as possible.
They probably will. Now, we know they are working on it because there was leaks online, logs that Apple have.
Yeah. Working on iPhone 6 today.
Well, no, an iPhone 6.1 or 0.2 or something was coming up in the logs. So they are doing something with it. But as I said, we'll have to wait for another few months to see what exactly it is they're doing.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to, this should be an interesting discussion about the big games of 2013. I mean, the year's just started, so what are people looking forward to? What do you think are a couple of the big games this year?
I have two that I'm really looking forward to. One of them is BioShock Infinite, which is a sequel to the BioShock series that was set in kind of like an underwater Ayn Randian city. It was very interesting. It had like a great story. It had kind of this like route that you could go down where you could be good or evil. But again, it was very simplified. You know, I've complained about this before. You can either kill little girls or save little girls. You know, there's no like grey in between where it's like, just leave little girls alone. Like, but they're bringing out a new one and they've completely rehashed the universe. So it's not set in that city anymore. It's set in a sky city. And the theme is less Ayn Rand and more American frontier. So the American dream, but like kind of with giant steampunk robots, magic, and people trying to kill each other. So I'm really excited. There've been a lot of videos out that look amazing. They're not ashamed to show the game before it's coming out. They're very comfortable with it. And literally the only complaint anyone has about it is that they don't like the box art. Which they think...
How picky are people these days?
I know, it's like the box looks terrible. Just play the game!
Yeah.
Well, it's a valid complaint though, because there is meant
Is it really a valid complaint?
There's meant to be an emphasis on the relationship between your character and a female character in the game, and she's not on the box. So it's kind of like...
So what do people think it's alluding to?
Well, it's just a man with a gun like this, like, I'm awesome. And it's just kind of like every other box art out there.
Okay, so it's not that different.
No.
Remember, if you want to tweet us or Facebook us tonight, you can do so and tell us what you think might be the big game of 2013 or what you're looking forward to as well.
Yeah, Mom, if you want to give me a little Facebook there, go ahead.
Okay, well, one of the games I'm looking forward to this year, one I harped on about for ages in 2012, so I'm going to leave that one for a moment. One of them is Tomb Raider, which I had forgotten that it was coming out in 2013. We only have to wait till March 5th as well, so not too long away. They've kind of gone back to basics with Tomb Raider. I was a big fan of the early on games.
It's back to even before basics. You're looking at like
pre-basics.
Yeah, it's pre-basics. It's Lara Croft before she was Lara Croft, basically.
Like not as far back as preschool. I mean, she is still an adult, not like diapers or anything.
Yeah, going to the shop for her mom.
Yeah, but they've kind of gone back. When Tomb Raider first came out, it was a case of, you know, she was just a tough woman. I was going to say tough lady, like Maggie Thatcher. But she was a tough woman, and it kind of was never explained where that came from.
It did seem to lack motivation, because she was just like a really wealthy British woman who seemed to be just spending her money globe-trotting to kind of suspend her jaded, bored life for a little while.
Yeah, so they've kind of gone back now and went, okay, we'll tell you how she got there.
Yeah.
And before we continue on, we'll just have a quick look at their trailer now, and it'll kind of give you an idea of where the creators are going with for this version.
Our captain is injured. Have you heard from any of the others?
Nothing.
Our crew is scattered. I have a bad feeling about this. I've got to find them. We're hunted by the island's inhabitants.
Lara, they've got me locked up.
Sam, listen. I'm gonna get you out of there.
Wicked!
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of where they're going. I didn't want to really play too much of the trailer, but
it's come under a lot of fire for being overly violent, and not just kind of in a video game violence way, but like taking sexual violence and kind of torture into it as well.
Do you think it's because it's a woman though? Like the main character is a woman. Like I know we always hear complaints about Grand Theft Auto is too violent and that game's too violent and whatnot, but I mean...
Well, I think they were struggling to kind of work out how a woman who lives a sheltered kind of rich life becomes the Tomb Raider, who becomes the tough woman. And I complained a lot about that Metroid game a couple of weeks ago, that they made her too much a victim. But it sounds like Lara Croft is going to like they say attempted rape scene. So it sounds like this is going to be the moment where Lara becomes Tomb Raider, like where she just beats the crap into this guy.
Well, the creators have kind of come out and said, you know, they're trying to explain where they were coming from, and their quote is, she's forced to fight back or die. Yeah. And that's the basis of, you know, the person she became.
It reminds me of Casino Royale, where there's that scene with Bond.
Yeah, just go with Bond.
Yeah, Bond, and it's his first
kill.
Daniel Craig. It's his first kill, and he grabs him and he smashes his head off the sink, and it's very brutal and very long. And it kind of reminded you that Bond kills people, and that he wasn't always Bond. He wasn't always the best at killing, and he had to become that kind of cold person that could kill people. And I think if it's done well, it could be very, very good, and I think it could be important as well, like in the terms of games and storytelling.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see. As I said, we only have to wait 2 months to see how that goes there. What is your second game that you're looking forward to this year?
This is the game I'm most looking forward to. It's a Japanese game called Ni no Kuni, and it's been in development for years. And you hear like a lot of...
how do you spell that?
N-I-N-O-K-U-N-I, Ni no Kuni.
Ni no Kuni. Rolls right off the tongue.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's based... the whole thing is being done in collaboration between Square Enix, who are a big RPG company, and Studio Ghibli, who are the foremost in Japanese animation. They make incredible films. They made Spirited Away. Have you seen that? Princess Mononoke. They're incredible. And they've even made like impact over here in the West. Like when a Studio Ghibli movie comes out, people will line up to be the voice actors in it. They had Billy Crystal as a fire in it once.
He was a fire?
Yeah, it was a fire. But this game is meant to be like a perfect culmination between the two, and it's been in development for so long because they're really trying to nail that kind of look. Like it should look like a Studio Ghibli movie, like a cartoon, and not a video game.
Okay.
So they want you to be really immersed in the universe. So you hear about games being in development hell. I don't think it was in development hell. I think they're just taking a very long time to make it, and it's going to be very expensive when it comes out because it's been in development.
Why? Because how much more expensive though?
It's going to be almost like in Japan. It'll be released in Japan first to test the waters, and then it might come out over here. But in Japan, it could be up to $120, the equivalent in yen, which is a lot for a video game.
That is really expensive.
But it already has a cult following. If it's good, like
loaded,
the price will come down definitely. But video games in Japan are always very expensive as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm really looking forward to that. Sorry.
So there are 3 of the games we're looking forward to in 2013. Kind of staying in the gaming arena, you've got some news on the PS4.
Yeah, the PS4. There was during the week, Sony filed a patent for a software that would prevent used games being played on your PlayStation. So it's presumed that they're going to put this into effect on the PS4.
It's a tricky one to kind of fight against, because if I borrow a game off you, somehow they've obviously come up with some sort of technology that goes, oh, this has already been played on another machine. Yeah. You can't play it. Or maybe is it a case of...
It could be an account thing as well, like if it can only be played on...
Like you register a game to an account.
Yeah. But the defense that they have for it is, like a lot of games now are being sold and resold again and again and again, and there's a huge used games market, but that doesn't do anything for the actual game market. Like GameStop, they have 27% of sales are used games, but 47% of their profit are used games. So they buy them for like $1 and they sell them for like 25, and none of that gets back to the developers.
I can see where Sony are coming from, as in, you know, they are missing out on money, but then I suppose at the same time, you know, how do they expect a gamers market to thrive if they expect gamers to constantly be buying new games and forking out that type of money?
Well, like people really, really don't like this sort of software. Like there's a thing called DRM, and that's basically just anything that restricts how you can play a game after you buy it. And some of the worst ones have been like you have to be online when you're playing it. So even if it's a single player game, I have to be logged into EA to play this game. Yeah. And then if my internet goes down, I can't play it. If EA servers go down because too many single players are playing, then I can't play it. And then sometimes if just everything goes buggy, I can't play it.
A true first world problem.
Yeah. I'm going to play my video games. This is a disgrace.
Of course, we still don't know if there's, like, they might even be granted this patent, or
no.
it could be a case of, is there a chance it could be just like misinformation?
Well, no, they definitely have filed a patent, but they just might not use it. Like market specialists are saying that it would be silly to use it, especially if, say, Xbox and Nintendo didn't use it on their next consoles, because then they'd be completely blown out of the water.
Okay. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, so. And we're expecting, again, June, July. It's going to be a big summer this year. We think there might be an announcement on the PS4.
The PS4 will definitely be announced this year.
Yeah. But we don't think it'll be out this year, though. It'll probably be 2014.
It'll probably be 2014.
Late 2014, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, briefly, because we're running out of time. John McAfee, in a few sentences, he's back on our radar again.
John McAfee, virus mogul, moved to Belize, accused of murder, went on the run, put shoe polish on his face to avoid getting caught, escaped to Guatemala, was arrested after someone took a picture of him on an iPhone and they traced the GPS, and was deported to the US. That was
that was him.
That was the recap. He claims that he was also operating an underground spy ring in Belize. And what he did was he bought 75 laptops and he put virus software on them that would route all the emails and information put on the laptop into his laptop. And then he just gave the laptops to politicians and was like, there you go.
When he did this, had he the polish on his face? Or
and the chewing gum in his mouth. So like if John McAfee offers you a laptop, you're like, no, it's okay. It's okay. All right.
But basically he's been spying on all the top officials in Belize.
He says that he's found evidence of affairs, love triangles, prostitution, and he's undercovered a Hezbollah network that are sending 12 terrorists into America to poison the president.
Did they do that thing over email? Or like, are they on Facebook chat going, here's the plan?
Lol. Made ricin. Generally, like, people are dubious about it because he's notorious for...
Because he sounds like he's a mentaler.
Yeah, he is a little bit mental. Like, he's been arrested for drugs and illegal weapon use in Belize before.
Yeah. And
he's notorious for just blatantly lying on his blog constantly.
Yeah, so we take pretty much everything he says with a pinch of salt, but he's a damn entertaining man.
Yeah. Where would our show be without him?
I know. Sponsored by John McAfee. That's it for this week. We are back next week, 8 o'clock at the same time on Tuesday here on FeckTV.com. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.